thank you so much for joining me. I'm wondering if you can take the time to introduce yourself, share a little bit about your background and what you're doing here.
Yes, my name is Mariena, and I am a mobile phlebotomist and also an MA.
So I know you're also a student at this point. Can you tell me a little bit about
Yes.
that?
So being a student and also working simultaneously it's not as stressful as many people may say it is, as long as you have time management and you're able to organize a schedule that would work perfectly for you.
Mhm.
It doesn't leave much downtime, so to say, to like spend time with friends and family, but sometimes, sacrifices have to be made in order to accomplish the things that you want to in life. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
fine with those sacrifices.
Yeah, of course. I totally understand that. So what made you want to go into being a mobile phlebotomist from the start?
I enjoyed the flexibility of it all.
Mhm.
So some days, if I know that I have like an exam coming up or anything like that, then I won't I won't take any clients then or any patients then, because I know that I have to prep or get ready.
What is the next step for you with school? Tell me a little bit about the goal there.
I want to become an RN,
Mhm.
and from being an RN, I want to actually work in the ER and like trauma and stuff like that, so I can just broaden my horizon and see more
Mhm.
about what's going on with the human body. I love anatomy and physiology as well. So learning how all of our ventricles and veins and everything kind of combine together, and they're able to drag and draw blood and discard of anything that's no good for us. It's just amazing to me. The human body is very, very amazing. And I know they say we can't grow limbs, but I think it's pretty neat that we can regrow skin.
Yeah, that's true. No, I think that's really fascinating to put it in that perspective. What really got your heart set on healthcare and medicine from the start, even before phlebotomy?
My grandmother, she's actually a physician. So growing up, my mom had me at a very, very young age. So like my mom was in school while I was in school, and my
Mhm.
grandmother was head of household. But I was with her during the portion of like during the tail end of her graduating med school and like figuring all of her stuff out. So it was me being able to watch her on that journey was amazing to me. And she gave me her first stethoscope that she had, and I still have it to this day. And whatever she was learning in school, she'd come home and then she'd teach me like medical terminology of certain things. Like if I said I had a cut, then she's like, "You tell me you have a laceration, so we can go get it fixed and get everything done." So it was neat to me that I had already had like a little background with the medical field, and I already understood more than the typical person that would be walking into it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like they're really your role models.
Yes.
So as you kind of go through this process, you said that you manage your schedule well, right? And you have time management, but it's really long days. How do you
Yes.
really manage doing that week over week over week? Does it get exhausting?
At times, but at times when I feel as though things are a bit heavy or it's a lot to manage, I always think about and look at my end goals. So before I get indulged in anything, I will write down a plan and write down my end goal for that plan. And as long as you can see the end goal for your plan, the little hiccups or the minor feelings, they're all temporary. These aren't feelings that's going to last forever. You have to think about it. We live a lifespan of approximately what, 80, 90 years.
Hmm.
About two of those years, or let's put it in a shorter terms, two of those summers, it's going to be a little hard, but you rather those 2 summers than the rest of your life, and you're like, damn, I could have did this, or oh man, I could have did that, or what if I would have did this. I don't like the fact of almost thinking that I have to live based upon the what ifs. So I think about my end goal when things do get hard, because that's what matters more than my temporary feelings now.
Right. No, I think that's a fantastic way to look at it. And it's a lot easier when you're pushing yourself through a difficult period, knowing that the uncertainty of having regrets is worse than what it is that you're managing at this point in time. I completely understand that. Um, how many of the people in your nursing school are also working as much as you are?
Many of us are,
Mhm.
but there are some students that are lucky enough, like they still live with their parents and stuff, so it's not really that much of a heartache. I think it's
Mhm.
probably a handful of us, honestly, per class.
Yeah, I would imagine it's probably becoming more and more common, just cost of living and everything else. So what's some advice that you would actually give to younger women, just the same way your grandmother did for you, for people that are looking at it and looking at school, seeing how big of a time commitment it is, the stress of it all? Do you have any advice for young women that are considering this kind of path?
Definitely. My advice would be take the opportunity now because you don't want to regret it later. You'd rather buckle down, get it over with now. And then when you look back on this time when you were so hesitant and thinking about, man, what if I, or maybe I should, you'll look back on that and be like, I'm happy that I did. Or just, whew, I got it out the way. Like it's one more notch on my belt instead of, oh, but what if I would have done? And what if I could have done? And then now you're at Wendy's and you're like, I could have went to nursing school.
Right. I think that being able to have that logical thought process of building your career in that way is really successful. And I cannot say how impressed and how much I respect you for all that you are doing. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I want to kind of get some of your feedback on just looking at women in healthcare as a whole, right? You're starting to get a lot of glimpses between mobile phlebotomy. Right now, you're in nursing school. You've seen your grandmother become a physician. What do you think about the whole landscape of just women in healthcare in general? We've got women that we're trying to get into more leadership positions, but I just read a statistic that said 66% of entry level healthcare jobs are held by women. So there's so many women in healthcare at the entry level position. What can we be doing as a society and as organizations to really change those numbers so that way women are also really heavily reflected at the leadership roles?
I'd say have a more trusting hand. A lot of people will say that the more masculine figure would have a steady thought or stream of thought, when in all actuality, women have that and a bit more because you're able to have compassion, you're able to have empathy, but you're also able to make rational decisions based upon the situation at hand. And I feel like having a bit more trust and encouragement would allow the growth of women to become in higher up or better positions. It's the lack of trust that keeps anybody in a certain predicament or position.
I love that. I think that's a fantastic perspective. And it's true, right? There's always the debate of who's more rational, who's more emotional, who's more reactive, right? And the debate will probably go back and forth for decades.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is a matter of trust and being able to really identify that women are really capable of making those decisions, but also still maintaining that very caring, empathetic touch that I think patients do
Yes.
really need, and they're never going to not need that. That's the reality. I do want to go back to one of the points of what you're talking about of women in leadership. It's a really interesting topic because I know a lot of people have felt very similarly in that there are women in leadership positions that maybe power goes to their head, right? And I think it's the same across all genders. I do think that it's more of a power struggle in general, but it's
Yeah.
an interesting topic to think about what can women in healthcare do to support other women in healthcare? Is that the solution? Women empowering women? What do you think that looks like?
I feel like it it would look as though teamwork, working together, making sure that you'll if you see someone falling or slacking off, then you'll let them know in a very in a kind manner, instead of, oh, look, you messed up again. Instead, it'll be more so like, hey, listen, I know that you probably forgot to do this or whatever. I did it. I made sure that I got it done, but just try to stay on top of it, so that, we all don't fall or crash from it.
Right.
When you do or use an inclusive method, it won't make anybody feel as though you're pinpointing or just having them stand out on their own. Because when you make someone feel like they're on their own, then they get automatically defensive because they have to defend themselves because they're alone. But when you make it as an all inclusive, you can't get defensive because we're all defending each other. We're all here for each other and we're all going towards the same end goal. So it's okay if you mess up. We're all human. We all mess up, but I got your back. So it's okay if you mess up because if you fall, I'll pick you up. But same thing for me.
Everyone at
Yep.
the end of the day is all there for the patients. They're there for the care and the empathy and making sure that people are healthy and the greater good that that has. That is a very uniting factor that you just cannot remove from the equation, right? But I want to hear a little bit about your experience with DirectShifts. Tell me a little bit about just some of your thoughts, and they could be positive, they could be negative. We're here to hear your feedback. We want to hear it all.
Genuinely, I enjoy working with you all. You guys are very punctual and on time, and no matter how many questions I may have, there's always an answer. And it's not like the run around circles answers. Like there's dead on answers, and I can greatly appreciate that. And if there is a flaw or if there's something going on, then Priyanka will reach out to me and explain stuff, or she'll tell me, like, give me a call if you can't figure it out, and then we'll figure it out together. But you
Mhm.
guys are amazing to work with. You don't make me feel as though I'm alone. You allow me to know that there's help no matter what time of hour or day. There's always someone to help and be there to provide some type of knowledge or some type of answer to get me through whatever hurdle that I'm trying to work through. And on top of that, you guys do show that you appreciate each person that does work with your company or like, or interacting with you all. And I think that's amazing. I've never been a part of or worked with any company or set of people that were as kind-hearted as you guys are.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you feel that way. No, and we feel the same way about you. Truthfully, one of the big things that we think about a lot is what can we do to change healthcare? And in a lot of ways, not much, right? But what we can do is make the lives of clinicians different and better. I love the story about your grandma and your mother. I think that is so fantastic. I love knowing that you're just a three generations of just strong women in healthcare. I think that's absolutely fantastic in every way.